Today we're taking a look at the Boston Celtics vs Brooklyn Nets match, which is happening on Sunday, May 30th, 2021, and giving you my betting tips and predictions in general on this game. Welcome back to High Stakes. Let's get straight into it. Also, don't forget to subscribe to get notified as soon as we release these sport prediction videos. And if you would like more betting tips and predictions, then check out our Patreon in the link down below. Our new Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money. 5 plans are available for each and every one of you. You can get 30 extra betting picks all the way up to 270 extra betting picks per month. Stop wasting hours and hours of your time searching the internet for some fake betting predictions and losing your money because of it. Join High Stakes Patreon now and get the best betting picks and advices instantly. The Nets had their 7-game winning streak snapped by the Nets in their last game, giving them their first loss of the series. They will try to bounce back from the loss with another win over the Celtics, which will give them a commanding 3-1 series lead and an opportunity to close out the series at home. More importantly, the rest of the team outside of the Big Three scored just 23 points and the Nets had just 16 assists, which was 15 lower than Game 2. Joe Harris had a standout performance in Game 2, scoring 25 points on 9 of 14, 64.3% shooting, but in Game 3, he shot 3 of 9, 33%, for just 8 points. When you factor in the absence of Jeff Green, who is out for the series with a strained plantar fascia, the Nets lose a major rotational piece who brought floor spacing and defensive versatility. Green was shooting 41.2% from behind the arc this season, and playing him as a small ball 5 created for the Nets' best lineup this season. In 5 minutes with Green at the 5 along with Irving, Harden, Harris and Durant, the Nets have a net rating of 16.4, an offensive rating of 136.4 and a defensive rating of 120. When you remove Harris and add Nicholas Claxton, the Nets have a net rating of 66.7, an offensive rating of 166.7 and a defensive rating of 100. Both of these have small sample sizes in the playoffs, but we've seen the impact Green lineups have in the regular season. In 76 minutes, the Irving, Harden, Harris, Durant, Green lineup has a net rating of 17.4, an offensive rating of 125.6 and a defensive rating of 108.2. Nonetheless, his impact can't be understated, particularly on a team without many reliable wings or bigs. The Nets still had an offensive rating of 125.4 in Friday night's loss, so it's clear that this offense is unstoppable. The biggest issue lies in their ability to defend, as they gave up 125 points on 1.31 points per possession. Defense has been their Achilles heel all season long, and it certainly is a bigger issue without Green in the lineup. The Celtics snapped their 2-game losing streak with a win over the Nets in their last game, giving them their first of the series. They will try to keep the momentum going with another win over the Nets, which will give them their second win in a row and even up the series at 2-2. One of the biggest factors in the Celtics' 2 blowout losses was his struggles, as he shot just 6 of 20 for 20 points in Game 1, and 3 of 12 for 9 points in Game 2, which he played just 21 minutes as he left the game early after being poked in the eye by Kevin Durant. As great as Tatum was in Game 3, he didn't do it alone. Marcus Smart also scored 23 points on 8-11, 72.7% shooting, while Tristan Thompson had a major impact by cleaning up on the boards and outscoring the Nets 13-5 in second chance points. The Brooklyn Nets were still hanging around in their Game 3 loss, and only Durant and Harden showed up offensively. The Boston Celtics needed Tatum to play out of his mind, the team to shoot over 50% from the field and to make 16 threes, and the game still got hairy in the final minute. I question if the Celtics can repeat such a performance to make this contest competitive. Thompson grabbed 13 rebounds, including 9 offensive rebounds, while scoring 19 points on 8 of 13, 61.5% shooting. If there's a recipe to beating the Nets, it's grabbing offensive rebounds, keeping them out of transition and generating second chance points to give yourself more opportunities to score against a team with the most efficient offense in NBA history. The Celtics had 32.5 offensive rebound rate compared to the 23.3 for the Nets, and that will need to continue for them to have a chance at winning this series. With Robert Williams leaving Game 3 with a sprained ankle and his status unclear for Game 4, the Celtics could be fighting an uphill battle. Brooklyn got a wake-up call on Friday night. Boston showed the Nets that they are not going to be able to coast to a sweep in this series. This is where Brooklyn shows the home crowd why they are the title favorite. If the Celtics are going to have any chance at winning Game 4, they will need better play from Kemba Walker, who has been downright abysmal during this series. Given the absence of Jaylen Brown, Walker was expected to pick up some of the scoring load. Tatum is not going to score 50 points again, and he does not get enough help for the Celtics to keep this game close. Durant, Harden and Irving are going to be too much to handle. He's done anything but that as he's coming off a Game 3 performance in which he scored just 6 points on 3 of 14 shooting. For the series, Walker is averaging just 12.7 points, 4 assists and 4 rebounds on 31.7% shooting, while also shooting just 17.6% from behind the arc. I don't expect Walker to continue to play this poorly, but if he can't get going, this series will be over in 5. My first betting advice for that game is to pick Brooklyn -6.5. Second-seeded Brooklyn looked like it was going to cruise past Boston in this series following a pair of dominant wins at home. The Nets appeared well on their way to taking a 3-0 lead when they jumped out to a 15-point lead on Friday. That's when Boston rallied and rode the home crowd to a lead and an eventual win. Brooklyn was led by James Harden, who scored 41 points. Kevin Durant poured in 39 after leading the team in scoring in the first 2 games of the series. Point guard Kyrie Irving shot just 6 of 17 from the floor, finishing with 16 points. The Brooklyn Nets were flying high after winning the first 2 games of the series by double digits, but they came back down to earth with a 125-119 loss to the Celtics in Game 3 on Friday. James Harden led the team with 41 points, 7 rebounds and 10 assists. Kevin Durant added 39 points with 9 rebounds on 13 of 24 shooting, while Kyrie Irving struggled to get going and finished with just 16 points on 6 of 17 shooting. As a team, the Nets shot 45% from the field and 16 of 38 from the three-point line as they hung with the Celtics until the third quarter, where they allowed 35 points as they just had no answer for the Celtics. Jason Tatum, who lit them up for 50 points. Joe Harris scored just 8 points on 3 of 9 shooting, while Blake Griffin added just 4 points on 1 of 5 shooting, but the Nets needed more from Irving, who never recovered after a slow start. Head coach Steve Nash said Boston was a little desperate and became the aggressor after our hot start. Brooklyn ended up trailing by 16 points in the fourth quarter before cutting the deficit to 5 points with just under a minute to play, but it could not get any closer. Forward Jeff Green is expected to miss the rest of the series with a left foot injury. Nick Claxton is expected to get more minutes after scoring 4 points on Friday. Brooklyn will be looking to avoid the second straight upset on Sunday night. Boston probably had the lowest outside expectations of any team heading into the third game of its first round series. It lost guard Jaylen Brown towards the end of the regular season, which essentially put the nail in the coffin on what had already been a disappointing season. With Brown sidelined and the Celtics failing to compete in the first 2 games, there was not much outside hope going into Friday. The home fans were treated by a furious first-half comeback and one of the best individual performances in team history. Jason Tatum poured in a playoff career-high 50 points to carry his team to the win. The Boston Celtics needed to come out firing after falling into a 2-0 series deficit, and they did just that thanks to a monster game from their best player. My second betting advice for that game is to pick over 229. Good luck to all of you. That's it for this video. Stay tuned and stay safe for the next betting tips and advice.